See form there, Mr. Side Judge.
Well, it's funny when you find the cameras find you even in a spring practice, and it's like, man, is that a good omen or a bad omen? Well, guess we'll find out, right?
Did you tell that guy to set up right there with that angle?
I had no idea there was a camera guy even there, to be quite honest with you. So, but it was I wish I would have. It was a good perspective, and somebody sent that to me because they're like, "Hey, you made Twitter." I'm like, "Oh shoot, what did I do?" But it's nice to get a little video because as you know, we don't get video a lot from our spring stuff, so get a little something from it, I guess.
Yeah. So Tuta, I'm channeling my inner Tuta, and I was thinking with that song choice, it's like spring football. It's me, myself, and I, right? It's up to us to put the effort in to keep growing and getting better, whether it's on the field, scrimmages, study groups, whatever we're doing. Nobody's going to hold our hand out there, right?
Nope. Not one bit.
Hey, I like it, Brandon. Theme music. We finally getting the message here. It's not mood music, it's theme music. So there we go.
The song is good though.
And it's a pretty nice song.
I don't know who that artist is, but man.
Baby Rexa,
Michael
isn't it?
Millica said it's Baby Rexa. Is that how you say that?
Oh wow. Not bad for a physics teacher.
I know. But no, you're right. It's all up to us during the off season. If we don't want to get better, that's all on us. I mean, I'm sorry, because you're at home. Maybe you're on different study groups. Maybe some of us participate in different rule study groups, different groups like virtual study groups, I guess. Some of us watch film. Some of us work out. Some of us need to work out a little bit more than others. But it's all up to us during this off season to get ourselves ready for the regular season.
And if you're here tonight, you're taking steps. Pretty good odds. You're looking to get better. So nicely done.
Well, let's get it rolling. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Targeting elements, first play out the shoot. Tuta, you ready to roll?
Oh, let's go, man.
All right. Poll's going to be up right now. Defenseless or not is element number 1.
I feel like we're at camp in New Orleans. We just jumping right into it, huh?
Absolutely. None of this banter stuff. Who are we trying to be? Like, what are we trying to do? Like Johnny Carson bantering? Come on, we're not.
Brandon, first of all, you don't even know who Johnny Carson is. So
I definitely know who Johnny Carson is.
You do not know who Johnny Carson is.
The banter's pretty weak, by the way.
So we're asking if the player receiving the hit is defenseless or was defenseless, whatever preposition. Is that a preposition? I think that's a preposition. Daniel?
Verb.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Sorry. Yeah, that was weak on my part.
Yeah, you didn't think that one through. You just fired.
I did. I let it rip, man.
You did.
So obviously, umpire. This is umpire in the backfield. Throws a flag here. Let's make sure we work through the process, right? It's what we always say. Well, I don't know what the umpire threw. Honestly, I have no idea what the umpire. You might, because you've found this play, or you guys discussed this play somewhere else. But
so should we talk? Well, no, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right. Either nobody's voting or everybody's voting, and
I know this is easy. I think this might have been easy.
It's 100% yes, defenseless. That's awesome, right?
That's awesome.
Great result. Obviously, we like when the results are an indicator of targeting.
So I know if, as we talk about getting better and it's all up to us, if I was the umpire in this play, I would ask myself, why was I moving as soon as the ball was snapped? Was I uncomfortable? Was I trying to get a better angle at something? Was I moving just because I like to move? I would ask myself that question because, one thing we know as we move, our visual acuity gets decreases, I guess. I think we need to work with our eyes instead of working with our feet.
Well, especially here. This is a great play example
Oh, my God.
for this
Exactly.
position and mirror it to the referee.
Yeah.
And we talk about this quite a bit. All we're doing right here is making our angle worse.
That's correct.
But this is an affliction that affects many officials. We have this disease often too as back judges. Like we just feel compelled to move for the sake of movement. And it's almost as if it feels weird. I know you guys have this conversation with center judges and referees and umpires in the backfield a lot. It almost feels weird sometimes to stand still. But if we don't like master that as a principle first and then start applying it to plays where it doesn't matter if we move or not, then we're not going to be able to do it here when the action is coming towards us. You know what I mean? Like we've got to be able to master that sense of I don't need to move, so there's no purpose for me to move on plays that are much more, quote unquote, meaningless plays.
Right.
And then we develop it as a discipline. Does that make sense?
It does. And, paradoxically, Daniel, I'm trying to develop the ability, not ability. That's not an ability. I need to practice on my technique of moving when necessary, like on a play like this, to get a
2-to-1 split. Look at the poll results. So what do you guys see with this posture? Because we're talking about the player delivering the hit here.
Yeah. Well, you put it in super slow-mo, Brandon, and that probably swayed everyone. I think this one.
Well, not everyone. I mean,
it swayed to
2/3.
64%. Okay. It swayed to 64%. I think this is really tough to put into a specific category of indicator. There is a very, very slight head dip right at the moment of contact. But then I just put this in my bucket of, man, this dude is just trying to hit this dude in the head. He's just hitting him high, period. And that's where I go with. And I don't think this dude is hitting this man high is one of the indicators listed in the rule book, but that's the indicator that I'm using. I see an attacking element on this type of play.
I was the same way with you, Tuta, and I think where I kind of landed with this one that helped me is he shows absolutely zero good indicators, like zero good technique. Like he's just going high, and at the end you do see that little head bob, and it's like, man, just like you'd make zero attempt to wrap up, to get low, to avoid the helmet. And I mean, I think you have enough indicators of enough lack of good indicators. You're like, man, that's just it right there. And so
I think that, Corey.
It's a good example of something that it's one of those you just can't list, but you kind of know it when you see it, and that's kind of how it stood out to me.
Yeah.
So a little bit scared with some of the language where we're saying, well, we don't see an indicator, but he's just trying to hit him high. Let's continue to be faithful to our process.
Okay.
What I think he does, and what I think he does is he strikes with his helmet, and it's super subtle. And when you watch it in real speed, if I'm on the field, I would probably say there's no indicator. But when we watch that super slow-mo that Brandon showed us, he almost strikes, doesn't he?
Right.
He uses his helmet.
He hit butt with his face almost like
yeah. And I think that's clearly an indicator for targeting. Again, super slow-mo, watching it 7,000 times in a row. But that's what we're doing here, is trying to break apart this action to come to a conclusion so we can bank it to where a lack of quality tackling technique indicators lends itself to being an indicator in and of itself, right? And so I think we see those two combinations here. Think we see a lack of quality tackling technique, and then I think we see kind of a strike with the helmet right there at the last second. Bam.
So Daniel, what you're saying is, because normally when we talk about using the helmet, we're talking about 913. And I think what you're saying here is, yeah, he's not. Maybe this isn't 913 or a classic 913, but he's still using his helmet as a weapon.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
not necessarily lowering his helmet, but he's leading with his helmet.
Correct. I like that.
So I want to draw a parallel between this kind of obsolete terminology of position change, and we used to see a lot of players with pretty good technique, like Corey was talking about, but the offense changes positions, and then it's almost incidental. Well, there's nothing about that's here, right? I mean, this guy's a sitting duck. He's a passer. He's rolling out. He actually is resetting up. So yes, we have roughing the passer rules too, but we're evaluating targeting. Man alive, this guy is just absolutely a sitting duck. His head is at one point in space. It's not moving. And so this defender has so many options. So I'm just repeating what Corey said and you guys said, but I just want to support that this is, to me, taking aim that goes above and beyond the purposes of making a normal football play.
Yeah. Well, he's clearly not trying to make any kind of football play. He's just trying to punish the dude because he struck him and then he immediately turned around. Yeah. It's not like he even took him to the ground. He didn't do any of that. His intent was to strike him. Well, I can't judge intent. He appeared to want to strike the player, and then he never even attempted to tackle him or anything like that.
Good point or to block the pass. Like at that point,
play the ball, right?
Jump up, go for the ball.
Right.
So and he can stick a shoulder pad in the numbers here and annihilate this guy, do exactly what he needs to do. You know what I mean? Just in the appropriate strike zone.
Good point about judging intent, which we don't, but player actions lead us down that pathway in terms of making conclusions, intent or not, right? So that's really what you were saying.
Right.
Element 3's up. Forcible contact.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Do I need to get in trouble and have to apologize again?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's liar again
about that play is it honestly there's not that much different in terms of force between this and that. Maybe a little bit more here.
I agree.
And not everybody knows what we're talking about, but a couple of VSGs ago, a couple Tuesdays ago.
And the Phoenix camp, if you happen to be
at the Phoenix camp, that targeting play, we actually, had a call for targeting at camp. Unbelievable. We were so fired up.
Which that official now gets a scholarship to
all camps.
All future camps.
Anywhere.
Saying
not ours. Any camp.
No,
Well, with that being said, we're going to have 18 targeting flags in New Orleans.
That's right. That's true.
I hope
That's
so.
Okay.
Man. We'll have
really
material for ages.
Camp will run itself.
Right.
But, okay, this is forcible.
Brandon's going to pay the scholarship out of his own pocket. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, that's not a very far
That's
runway.
the kind of guy that Brandon is, though. He's a very magnanimous type of generous.
He's a giver.
Yes.
This is forcible. This is force that rises to the level of targeting, assuming everything else is met. Now, if we deem this player to be not defenseless, this would not be targeting, right? But it's still forcible contact.
Well, hold on. Time out.
What?
I don't know if I want to go that far, Brandon.
Oh, okay, because you're saying that might be enough for Crown. I mean,
I mean,
I don't know if it's overt enough, but that's fine. I didn't want to get into that. I mean,
right.
Okay.
I think it's a stretch, but I think I would not be able to 100% disagree with someone who said that is the crown of the helmet. But I think it's a stretch. I don't necessarily agree that it is, but I wouldn't totally disagree with someone who said that it is crown of the helmet.
I didn't mean to take us down that path, but I hear what you're saying. I totally agree with you. Let's talk about this though. Okay, we've got everything we need for targeting based on what we just went through. Now, how should this be reported and announced?
Right. Well, first of all, reported is a strange word to me because as a referee, if I don't have a flag down on this, something is wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something is really wrong. I got to have something.
So that's mechanics. Sure.
Yeah.
How should we be categorizing this, I guess, whatever?
Well, let's go back a little bit, Brandon. So let's say for whatever reason, we deem this action after we go through our process, we deem this action to not be targeted. Let's say we don't see an indicator. Although we've clearly said here we see an indicator. Well, 34% of us say they did not see an indicator. So let's say we did not see an indicator, so we would not have targeting. But I think
because, by the way, let's acknowledge it is very close to him just running through this player without attacking.
Absolutely,
it's not like
it's super close.
It's very close, so that's not. We don't want to drive by that. Okay. But we see it. Whatever. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make that
but what I'm saying is, let's say we don't see an indicator on the field as a referee, but I think we clearly see that this is unnecessary and avoidable contact that rises to the level of roughing the passer. Can we have roughing the passer with some forcible contact to the head that does not rise to the level of targeting? Do you see what I'm saying? Are those not automatically equal to each other?
Yes. Absolutely.
My question was kind of weird.
Subtly overt strike with the head here.
Uh-huh.
But the contact was still the same based on him running and taking a different path, whatever. You could definitely rise to the level of roughing the passer, but not rise to the level of targeting if you deem this not to be an indicator.
Okay. Good. Okay. So going back to your question that you asked 20 minutes ago before I took us down another path, I think we absolutely positively must turn on the microphone and say personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. We cannot not do that because we have to leave this play with 15 yards regardless of what happens in a replay booth. If we work on replay in games without replay, I hate to say it doesn't matter. But we need to announce roughing the passer with targeting.
I think that's a good practice, regardless if the game works with replay or not.
Yeah.
Let's evaluate this for what it is. Is the contact punishing to the quarterback? Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
And then forget about late because it's high. So high contact to the quarterback. There's no time element that's necessary. In fact, where I know that a lot of talks have been this offseason, because not everybody agrees that a quarterback who never throws the football but gets struck in the head, like standing in the pocket, gazing downfield, whatever. Let's say he never throws it, but there's significant force to the head.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I remember
that
conversation. That was shocking.
Not everybody agrees that should be roughing the passer. But now I think what we're going to hear this offseason is that it is. It absolutely is consistently across the country. So yes.
Yeah. Josh is talking about this new definition of crown of the helmet. Did I miss something? I know I haven't read any of the new rules. I'll be perfectly honest. I'll just throw myself out there. I generally don't read the new rules until we get to fall season. But was that in the new rules that were listed?
I don't know. Somebody needs to help us out because I'm not disagreeing with anybody because I'm ignorant to the whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about a new rule for 2022 later on another play, but it has nothing to do with this. So there must be something out there about a new crown of the helmet definition,
which is odd. It sounds like we're going.
Why do we need that?
Yeah. Remember, we started with a penny,
right?
And then we went to basically all the way to the damn shoulders, and then now it sounds like we're walking it back.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
All right, good. All right, I think we're good on this one, huh?
Oh yeah.
Good start.
Good way to start off.
All right, let's keep rolling here. Okay, so we had a little issue with this play last week, but we brought it back. So why don't you want to set this up? I don't think there's a poll or anything to do, but just talk about this.
Yeah, we were just talking about, what in the world, how do we know if a player is blocking high or not? We clearly see a low block by the back who comes and cleans up. I think that's B8. But how do we know if number 70 is blocking? How do we know if the right guard is blocking high? And then how, do we really want to split hairs with that? This is a dangerous type of, that was kind of the point of this play. We had Big Bill on last week to speak to it. Unfortunately, we didn't have good, we had all kind of technical issues last week.
Yeah. We spent the last 24/7 working through that, right?
That's correct.
Here's the thing. These are really hard. So with these chop blocks, when there's traffic involved, it makes it very, very difficult. Traffic. What does that mean? There's like 2 or 3 blockers and 2 or 3 defenders, right?
Right.
There's 3 blockers and 2 defenders.
Right.
Who's blocking who? Of course, there's a low block. The running back goes low, which makes our life complicated. But man, it's very, and what we, so statistics show that our accuracy when the chop blocks are not classic, which I can describe if I need to. When the chop blocks are not classic, our accuracy plummets. Does that make sense?
Right. Because we start guessing.
Exactly. Classic chop block is post high, cut low, 2-on-1 block. Pretty obvious. Pretty good at those.
Yeah.
Maybe even like backside stretch, lineman makes a mistake on the blocking assignment, goes low while he's posted high. That's 2-on-1. We're pretty good at those, I think. I mean, I feel like we are. I don't know if you agree. We're not good at these, right? I mean, and maybe this is a foul. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I haven't seen convincing arguments either way in terms of the video, but I know that our accuracy on this, if we make this call or even if we don't make this call, our accuracy is not good on this yet. So I don't know what to do to get better, right? Do you have any ideas?
So my question is, Brandon, let's talk about number 70, and you can kind of see 75 on this low end zone angle. Both players are kind of like sticking their arms out. Are we calling that a block, and are they occupying the defender enough to call that a block? I would like to hear what your opinion is on that.
What position? I'll tell
right
you how
guard
bad,
and center
I'll
and
tell you
right
how
guard.
bad I am at this. See, the right guard doesn't even touch anybody. So maybe you're talking. Are you?
I'm talking about that technique, though. So his technique and the center's technique is
really very. I hate to admit it, but that's a very awesome observation on this play.
Wait, what are you hating to admit? I'm confused right there, Brandon.
I'm confused by your level of awareness. I'm just buying time to formulate some thoughts.
Okay, let's buy time.
I just don't. I may be different. I don't think it takes a whole lot here up high to create a foul.
I agree. See, that's what I was wondering what you were thinking on that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, but I also think we do need contact. I mean, we don't have this whole lure thing.
No.
Although honestly, I don't know the difference. Because if somebody's got their attention focused up high, whether there's slight contact or not, or big contact, and then gets cut low, what's the difference?
Yeah.
But that's not our job. So we need contact for sure. Anybody who talks about a lure, they're talking about a different level of rules, right?
Correct.
I
think what makes this one so difficult.
If I see that left hand in the chest and he gets cut, it's a foul to me.
Okay, good.
With this type of posture.
Good. Okay. So Josh, the center is actually the player who's engaging, we think, and then the left guard kind of comes over and maybe bumps the player in the back. I don't know if that bump occurred before, after he was cut. Can't really tell. It's just a mess in there.
I'll tell you this, Tuta. The left guard to me is nothing.
Okay.
That's really nothing. I mean, that's just really incidental.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see him overtly blocking at all. And by overtly, I don't mean there has to be a lot of contact.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of maybe bumps, like you said, bumps him with his shoulder.
Right.
That doesn't create a chop block to me. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Now, if the center puts his hand up in the chest and then he gets cut low, that does. Right. And it might even be less contact.
That's correct.
That's how difficult these are.
That's correct. I think the point is we have to see all of it, and then we have to really just understand and determine for ourselves what are we going to evaluate as a block. And what's a block? What's not a block? And we saw the other play last week with the low block, which was like some
little stunt.
Yeah,
a feel is way different than a block.
Okay,
so we don't want to call feels.
So you want to see? So are you're wanting him to post?
I want to see something that implies he's blocking that guy.
Right.
Feeling the guy while he gets cut is not a foul.
Right.
You could make an argument he's got his attention focused on the stunter.
I agree.
And if that's
what makes
the case,
this play so difficult.
If that's the case, that left hand's maybe not a feel. The bottom line is, we have to see it. I mean, and I don't think the video does it justice.
No, it doesn't.
But we
But
can't.
that's okay. On the field, we might get a nasty angle just like that. And,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And the whole point of this is we can't guess. We can't make it up. But if we do see what we see, we have to have the confidence to fire and throw a flag.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Josh's question, is there an end zone view? And that was kind of the point of this play. The angles are obscured, and that's very often what happens like on these plays when there's so much traffic inside.
Yeah. And then you just all of a sudden see a dude on the ground. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
And he got cut.
Exactly.
Like, oh, my God. Was that a post high? Did he feel him? Did he block him? We can't just go firing on things that we don't know, though, on this, because history shows our accuracy is not going to be very good.
Right. Not only that, if we really think about it from a numbers perspective, chop blocks are not very common. Most of the time, these teams know what they're doing. The players know what they're doing. They're very skilled, and they're able to understand when can I block low if my partner is potentially going to block high and not. So they're very skilled on this. Chop blocks are not very common. Oh,
let's watch another play.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about a little blindside block action. Uh-oh, did we lose everyone? Something's weird going on.
No, we're here.
No,
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, shoot. I thought something was weird was going on again. I was about to lose my mind. All right, we're talking illegal blindside block action. Corey, the side judge called this one. I think the block is somewhere near the 40-yard line, if I'm not mistaken, during the return. And we want to just evaluate the contact, see what do we see, how do we determine if we're going to have a flag down for illegal blindside block.
I think we can work through some process elements here too.
I love that.
We're gonna talk about outside of vision, contact with force. There's an attacking verbiage in the rule. I want to. This to me is a really interesting play, and so what I want to talk about, included in all of that other stuff. I want to listen to you guys, but I want to really understand. I've heard officials say if he goes to the ground, that's enough force. Well, this guy goes to the ground, but I'm not convinced it's enough force for a foul. So I'd love to reconcile some of these. I don't know if they're myths, but some of these invisible scripts around this rule. That, by the way, this is one of our current most inaccurate categories as well. I don't know why I'm on this accuracy thing tonight, but blindside blocks, we weren't. The numbers are showing we're not as accurate as we need to be, but that's great. It's an opportunity to get better. So this play, I think, gives us that.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough call, and it's when you get in a room with a group of officials, it's amazing to me to see the differences in how people approach this and how they view this action as a foul, not being a foul, what they're looking for, and I just think back when we were sitting in a room in February, we had a long discussion about blindside, and the whole room was all over the place, and I think obviously our accuracy is going to suffer when everybody's on a different page, and I don't know if that's because of a lack of direction or a lack of what we're actually looking for with this thing. But I agree with you. It is something that we struggle with. I'm kind of with you, Brand. When I first saw this play, I was like, okay, yeah, is there really a forcible component of this? And I know Daniel does a good job of relating forcible with attacking, and I just didn't see it. And, then I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a block in the back. And I definitely didn't like it for a block in the back just because, it's not a chase. I think there's enough of an element in the side, and that the player's kind of turning his back, because it looks like the player's going in for a tackle, and the guy just kind of blocks him off of it. So I just don't know how we can all land. We need to find some type of a vehicle that'll get us to be, of the same type of a mindset when it comes to this, and we just haven't found it yet.
Is there anything that we can lean on with the players, the contact, the way the player, I don't even want to say delivers, the way the player blocks is more or less almost with like a hip check or using his legs or something instead of striking with his shoulder, striking with his forearm, leading with his arms. Is there something we can lean on with that when we say he's not attacking? Or is just the simple fact that he's contacting the player forcefully? Because I know Daniel says with force, the attack is inherent, if I'm not mistaken, unless I got that backwards. But I'm just looking at the way this dude goes in, and he halfway uses his like hip.
Yep.
Go ahead.
One of the terms I think that we hear, I don't know if we're using it, but I've heard before in just different trainings, is a shield block. It's almost that, isn't it? I mean, right. He almost just kind of turns there at the end, and I guess his hands aren't up in the air, but effectively with the contact that he makes in the lower half, that's kind of what he's doing, just that shield block action, which I think is, I think that's helpful.
Yeah. Helpful in what way, DY?
I think it's helpful, kind of like, we talk about anti-indicators when we talk about targeting, and even with
anti-indicators. I like that.
I like that.
Even with blindside block, where we talk about using the hands and that kind of thing, it's kind of similar thing where you just kind of turn your body, and you can still have pretty good contact, but when you look at the rule, it's not, is the block delivered with force? Is it forcible. It's kind of like Brandon likes to say forcible or rises to the level of targeting. So it's like there's a level, and who knows what it is, of forcibility that we have to reach for it to be a blindside block. And I'm with you guys. This doesn't, to me, and again, I know this is just like how my brain works, and you guys alluded to it. To me, when I just don't see this as a forcible block. Yes, there's force exerted, but it's not forcible in the sense that he really just delivers a really solid contact to this guy. I like what Tuta said. He kind of hip checks him, turns his body there at the end. And I think one of the reasons we struggle with consistency is like we have some common language, but we don't have a real common and solid understanding of that common language, right? Not that one group understands it better than another, but it's just not common, right? The way that we apply these different words and what they mean. I don't think we're super standardized across the country, and I think that'd be helpful.
But make no mistake, this is a blindside block.
No questions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A blindside block. It's outside the field of vision, right? I mean, this guy doesn't have his focus on defending himself from this block. So, yeah, I like what we're saying. It's absolutely, to me, the force doesn't rise to the level of a foul. The question here, just mechanically is like, Corey, the side judge sees this. Now, how much of this do you think he saw? Did he see the guy lining him up? Did he react to the contact and the guy flying? And then the better question is there not another official that saw this and maybe had an opportunity to evaluate this and collaborate with the side judge?
So what would you say though, Brandon? If I threw a flag and you saw it, let's say you were the umpire or you saw it and you did not think it was a foul, I threw the flag, what would you tell me?
Well, I mean, if I felt like of course I got to watch this play 50 times, right. But if I saw everything and I was not convinced it was a foul, I would just say, Tuta, I saw what you saw, but to me, he really just screened him off. It was a normal block. The force was not above, it didn't rise to the level of a blindside block. And I mean, those are the words that we're used to using. Yeah, that's what I would say.
No, I like that because that's what I struggle with. What do I tell a person? Yeah. But I like when you said he just screened him off. So really, what you told me is he didn't really attack him. He more or less screened him. I like that. Because I mean, we have to do this, right? If we see something that one of our partner officials threw a flag on and we know it's not a foul, or we are 100% sure it's not a foul, we got to say something. We can't, if we're gonna go talk to him, we got to say something. I like that.
I think mechanically, I really like what the side judge does here. I mean, his visual mechanics are perfect. If we're working outside in and trying to get out in front of the runner, this is exactly the threat that we should eventually get to.
Good point.
In the past few weeks of, on a kick play, on an interception return, we've got to clear and move on. And, he has an immediate threat to the returner, gets through that. There's another little engagement before that, but then, he's looking for his next one. And this just happens to be the block. And I think when you see that player going against the grain of the rest of his teammates, that always stands out to me. I know that, and it always draws my attention. And I think, if we can pick that type of a player up and kind of watch how that whole thing develops, we're going to be very accurate with this. Now, can't determine, judgment is judgment. We all know that, but I think, mechanically, this is a sound. I would hope to be looking at this block. Now, should somebody else see it, have an idea of it? Yeah, probably, and that would be a good thing to have at least a discussion about it.
Yeah, and I believe firmly the answer is yes to that question, that somebody else should see it. And I can't remember which one of you guys hates this second wave, third wave terminology on punts. I know one of you does. But this is really more of a second wave block based on where this player comes from to deliver this contact, right? So somebody I know for a fact, line of scrimmage or umpire or one, two of the three probably saw this. But maybe not. I mean, it's conceivable not, because there's a lot of bodies.
It is a lot
But
of bodies.
my guess is somebody else saw this, and the question would be, did we just kind of choke on it, or did we just decide not to get involved? And that's possible. Not recommendable, right? Especially if we have an opinion, don't save that till later. That's not what we want. But
well, I'm gonna be honest, Brandon. Just to be brutally honest, the reason why I asked you what would you say is because I struggle with this, and I've had times when someone has thrown a flag, especially on my key, on a pat I have had a DPI. In fact, I'm remembering the game specifically right now. The back judge threw DPI on my key, and the receiver was grabbed on the shoulder, but there was literally no impact from the grab. And I knew what he saw, but I didn't know what to tell him because I felt like I was going to come and say, well, my judgment is better than yours. And through this medium that we're on here, I'm practicing and learning, okay, what can I tell someone
That's
to
incredible.
pick it up?
That's an incredible story. That's incredible because I know for a fact you've asked back judges to pick up DPIs in the past and been dead wrong. So I don't even know.
Love how this
right
stuff
now.
comes to the surface.
What? Oh my gosh.
I wasn't in the game with you, Daniel, and the one I told you to pick up, well, I was absolutely right.
Yeah,
We were
so
talking about
wrong.
two different actions. We were talking about two
So
different actions.
wrong. I'm just frustrated right now. Let's go. What's next?
You frustrated from 10 years ago. That's amazing.
No, just that statement. We'll talk about this offline. This is just a you and me thing.
So let's rule out illegal block in the back on this too, because this is kind of classic where the guy turns at the last second, creating contact in the back.
Yeah.
And I get that it's interesting because wait a second, we just said he's outside his field of vision, so is that more of a chase? But I don't think so. I mean, I think he's lining him up certainly from the side to commit a side block, and the turn there at the last second kind of creates that contact in the back. And that's another thing, right? That we could have really good communication around if that's called.
Yep. All right.
I don't know. We're 86 sessions in. Of course, it's fun. This is a blast.
86. That's pretty good.
Any famous number 86s? I don't know.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
86. That's a good question.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any.
There was a wide receiver for the Giants back in the day. He wore 86. I can't remember his name. Played with Phil Simms, and he torched the Broncos in the Super Bowl. That's why Lionel Taylor's that his name.
We'll look it up. Watch the crew manage the game on this play. This is, I think, really excellent. So we're gonna call a late hit to a quarterback. Well, forget about the fact that it's a quarterback. It's just he's really a runner. Now the helmet comes off, so we got to evaluate if this is a shot to the head or it's just a late hit or whatever we have to evaluate. Look at the presence of the crew. I think that's what stands out on this play. We can get into the call. I'm sure we will. But like everybody, like we focus a lot on rules and mechanics and philosophies. Honestly, there's some games where it's all about what this crew shows. You know what I mean? Like getting and providing a presence right here. Look at the umpire just cool this down. Number 53 getting between him. 53 standing up for his quarterback. We understand that. Unfortunately, we see a lot of and we've all kind of made the mistake at times of trying to police this with flags.
Right.
Now, and I'm not talking about the late hit. That's a football play, but I'm talking about the stuff that happens after.
Right.
Interestingly, the line feed camera goes right to the referee because there's a flag down. So rookie producer, that's fine. No, it's fine. But look at his hustle in. And the crew I just thought was excellent in helping provide a presence here. Good reminder for us all. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that or you want to get into the call.
Well, no, that's good. You see, the umpire is one who had the flag, so it'd be real easy for him to just stand there and stare and look for his number and all this other crap. And he's like, whoa, I'm not finished officiating this play yet. I threw the flag, but now I got to finish officiating the play. I specifically say feet first.
It does. Right. Okay. So wait a second then. How can this be a foul?
Well, if it's just late and the play is clearly over and it's just unnecessary action, it can be a foul. It'd just be a late hit.
Yeah. So what about the argument that there, this guy's trying to get yards, and this guy's trying to stop him from get yards, and
Yeah, no.
how so what? But like, do you have any tips on that? I find this very hard.
Well, we talked about it though, Brandon. I like to use the same thing I use with a sliding quarterback. If you look at the body posture of the defender after this player went to the ground, clearly going to the ground, whether he's given himself up or not, this player committed to hitting a target that was on the ground. So he intentionally decided to hit the quarterback or the runner who was pretty much on the ground. Look where his strike zone is. His strike zone is about 3 inches above the ground. So he's clearly intending to hit a player who's on the ground. It's unnecessary to me. And I think he committed after the player was pretty much on the ground. So to me, it's just unnecessary late action.
Yeah. So it's that late. And then I'm not sure you're in as much in love with the word avoidable as I am, but
Oh, I love that word.
There is
Easily
time
avoidable
for this player to show us something.
Exactly.
And it's not as if like I would expect this player to avoid all contact, but show me something with your body posture, your body language that says you're trying to avoid hitting this guy with this much force, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, we could evaluate this for targeting. I'll just spoil it. This actually went to review. It was determined there was not targeting. I don't think we have all the camera angles, but we probably have enough. It actually is just no contact to the head, and there's clearly not contact with the crown of the helmet.
Right.
So defenseless, sure.
Right.
Yes. Is he attacking? Yes. But there's just no contact, right?
Yeah.
So can't have targeting. But for the purpose of targeting, there's definitely contact for the purposes of unnecessary roughness for a late hit.
Right.
Okay, but wait a second now.
Now the dude's helmet is off, huh?
His helmet's off. Oh, so this gets sticky. Like, how do we got to tell somebody they're either staying in the game or they got to sit out, or
there was something that happened with his head that knocked his helmet off. He's going to stay in the game if it's up to me.
I'd agree with that, Tuza, wholeheartedly. I think
like why be technical?
Keep going.
Yeah, I think there's some type of a shoulder that slides up into him or something, that there's contact to the helmet that that jars that helmet off. And I don't think we need to be, like you said, super technical and look for a face mask or a helmet opening, something like that. It's just you're just going to add insult to injury, and I don't think that we need to do that.
Right. Yep.
Do you have any differing opinions? I've heard a lot on this topic from other officials. Just want to make sure. What do you think?
No, not on this particular play. I don't.
Okay, thanks for your insight. That was outstanding. So I agree with everything. The rules language I feel needs to be adjusted. I mean,
yes.
It's too strict.
It is.
Now here's the thing. I do think that this player's helmet is probably not optimally fitted. Right? I think that's a possibility. I don't care. I mean, right? This is clearly a late hit. There's very possibly some contact to the helmet that may have indeed perhaps caused the helmet to come off. It's a foul. The helmet's off as a result of the foul. Let's just use common sense here. Keep the guy in the game.
Right. Think about it like this. This is the game-winning drive. Do we really want to be a technocrat? Is that what we want to die on that sword? That, oh, no, the rule specifically says that the contact must directly cause the helmet to come off. Do we really want to send this dude out on the game-winning drive? Are we going to be that? Is that what we're going to do? Sometimes the game needs certain things, and right now the game needs this dude to stay in because he got fouled late, period.
Yeah, I don't know about the we, but I definitely wouldn't be on that bandwagon. I know that, so...
Well, Corey, you and I can work many years together because this dude is going to play again.
We all know that you get out on the football field and there's just times where you have to feel the game.
That's correct.
And not just go by what you read on page FI 82,
exactly.
Or whatever it is.
To hell with that page.
Correct. I mean, this is just something that the game doesn't need, and I think all four of us, we very strictly subscribe to that theory that if the game doesn't need something or does need something, we're going to step in, and that's our role as officials out there, as managers of the game. That's, Brandon said it perfectly. This crew managed this game, and by keeping this player in would be managing the game properly, in my opinion.
So Michael, I think that's a good question. Thinking like a coach, and then if you see this on a test, because it's going to be test season pretty soon, right?
Play the next play, but that's a test question, and that's a rule book. And
Yeah.
I don't bring test questions or rule books to the game when I step on the field. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Okay, well, you didn't leave any room for anybody else to interpret anything, so that was good.
Well, that's why we get paid the extra $22, Brandon, as referees.
You're getting
I think with
$20, that's a crime.
I think with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, that's probably going away, like everything else. Oh, this is like my favorite play of the year. So, we're going to talk about a rule change coming up, and we're going to have to be made aware if the rule change is approved or if it got struck down or whatever. So we'll talk about that in a second. You're going to watch the number 2 receiver, offense left. We go motion into trips, right? We get set. It's fine. We got a lot to talk about on this play.
Wait, Brandon, before you get started, can we
Yep.
can we talk about something like totally like silly before we get started on this play?
I'm fine with that.
Daniel Young, isn't Lamar University the Cardinals? What is that on their helmet? What is that?
They are. I was wondering the same thing. At first it looked like an oil derrick.
Oil derrick, right?
Then I wasn't sure if it was like one of those ribbon things relative to cancer. I don't know. I was wondering the same thing.
Okay. That's your Houston. That's your. Are we calling Beaumont the Houston area? Can we?
No, but I rep Beaumont too.
Okay.
Golden Triangle, baby.
Yeah, your grandparents were in Beaumont, right?
Well, all around Beaumont, Port Neches, Port Arthur. So.
Okay.
Well, that was interesting. Okay, great.
I mean, that's riveting for the rest of the.
I just wanted to know what that was on the helmet.
I was wondering the same thing. It was weird.
All right, sorry. Let's go.
Number 2 receiver to the left. Motion into trip. So, first of all, Daniel, what are you watching? And what do you expect the line of scrimmage official to watch here? Because I can tell you what the line of scrimmage official is watching, but I don't know if that's what you would expect him as the back judge on this crew. If you were the back judge on this crew, which I don't believe you were, but if you were, how would you want this play worked? Just visually first, and then we'll get into everything else.
I don't think I was the back judge on this play either. I could be wrong, but. So are you talking about relative to the number 2 or 3 receiver, how we want to work that?
Well, yeah, because number 3 right here, that's obviously nothing. I mean, we just went through blindside block. We don't have to rehash all this. Yeah. And actually, we got another blindside block on the next play, so we don't got to go into that. That's obviously just nothing. Yeah. But he could have gone low. He could have gone high, whatever. Absolutely. Somebody's got to watch him, right?
No, absolutely. So I think, I didn't know to some degree to where the back judge, I would be on the number 3 guy and expect the line of scrimmage official to be on the number 2 receiver. And so then for me, as soon as he comes inside, takes this step inside, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. Agree, nothing happens here, but we have to officiate that action all the way through whatever he's going to do. So as a back judge, I would take number 3, who also happens to be the number 3 receiver, all the way through this contact and now try to get out in front.
Okay, so this whole notion of the number 3 guy staying in, that's kind of obsolete because of the mechanics change. So if what I'm understanding you say is if number 3 receiver is flexed and he, quote, stays in or goes in, then the back judge is going to stay with him.
Well, I think it's going to be situational. You have to – I don't know that we can apply that universally. I know you're not trying to say that. In this situation where even though he's flexed, it's really what you would call a tight formation, and he shoots immediately back towards the line of scrimmage, we just have to have an awareness, regardless of how the play is developing, that there's a threat there that we need to officiate. And that's really what our initial keys are designed to do, is to allow us to officiate threats that develop quickly. That's exactly what this does. Now, if he's flexed a little bit further, he takes a few steps inside and there's really nobody there for him to block. How we work that visually may change depending on how it evolves. In this particular play, we just have to have the awareness his physical proximity to the line to just all this stuff in here with the defenders, the defensive end. I don't know who else was there now that we're kind of spinning, but there's defenders there, so there's the potential for threat of foul. So we do need to officiate that. So it's different from where if he's in a tight end position and he's just kind of run blocking and we're going to switch there immediately. I don't know that there's going to be awareness from the line of scrimmage official that this is something where we need to switch, because it's not really, it's just a different visual look for us. So yeah, as a back judge, I would want to stay with this through that action personally.
I think that's just incredible nuance. It's really good nuance, because you could just, that's fine. I just hope the back judge understood what the line of scrimmage official was doing. Because it sounds to me like you would expect the line of scrimmage official to eventually work the number 2 receiver in this play if needed. Right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. So
it's a tough play, Brandon.
I understand.
It is.
I understand. All right. And plus we got this back coming out, right? But the back's really unthreatened.
Is anyone else's video stalled out, or is that just me?
Mine's rolling. Mine's rolling good.
Okay, good.
Maybe we'll get it here. Maybe you're ahead of us, Daniel.
No, Walter's having issues. Michael Billick is having
technical
issues.
difficulties again.
Sergio is having issues. I don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the action by involving the number 1. It's actually the number 1 receiver.
Number 1 receiver.
This play is amazing.
It is.
I didn't know it was the number 1 receiver until this moment right now in time. Okay. Let's evaluate the potential for defensive holding and just talk mechanics and philosophy, Corey, on how we should evaluate that. Because I don't think, if anybody sees this, is there any question that the guy's restricted?
No, none whatsoever. It's just, but we have to, we're looking for the restriction. And I think, we've done a lot on offensive holding with, timing, proximity, and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that still applies to defensive holding. I mean, we have to see the level of restriction, but then we have our famous 2-step process that, I know we have that kind of a lot in a lot of other areas of football right now, but it really was born from defensive holding, that we see the restriction and then we have to find the ball and see, at this point, I think you're going to see that restriction and the ball is coming out into the flat. And so at that point, you then have to evaluate, what impact was it on this play and make the judgment that you want to at that point.
All right. So we see this guy. Now, here's the other thing. We say call all takedowns, right? For relative to holding. Is this a takedown?
Whether it is or not, I don't know if that applies to defensive holding. Does it?
I don't know. We say call all takedowns in open field?
Yeah, I wouldn't call that from a defensive holding on a wide receiver perspective. I don't know if I would subscribe to that same theory.
Okay, I agree. Yeah. First of all, I don't even think this is a takedown. I mean, he's just kind of moving, and he goes to the ground, but he just kind of grabs him, and he ends up on the ground.
Yeah, the dude was kind of off balance too.
Yeah. So I just think some of us, like me, very often are so literal in what we hear and read.
Yeah, you can't.
We gotta use the Daniel Young nuance that he just explained on the trips mechanics, right? I mean. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
I like the energy.
I just wanted to bring it maybe down to 88 instead of.
Oh, is it too loud?
Yeah, that's.
Cool. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Okay, whatever. I'll talk lower. I don't know what the heck's going on tonight. Where was I going?
I don't know. If this is called
enforcement, you're talking about enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a rule change this year. So before this is actually 3rd and 16, right?
Oh, we have a rule change.
So if this
I know where you're going here.
If this is called, we need a judgment from who about what? The pass relative to the neutral zone.
What changed, Brandon? What changed? Because
Yeah, I didn't know it changed either.
so last year this would not be an automatic first down because this pass did not go
Exactly.
beyond.
And
Did
this
that
year,
change?
that's changing.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just
They're lessening, I guess, whatever, taking away requirements to make defensive holding an automatic first down.
Oh, so the pass does not need to go beyond the line of scrimmage?
Correct.
Okay.
I think it still has to be on an eligible receiver, and I think the foul itself still has to be beyond the neutral zone.
Does it still have to be a forward pass?
But I'm sure it does.
Okay.
But I don't believe now, almost like this play shows, although two-step process, we'd be better off not calling this. I think the better call is nothing here, two-step process-wise. But if we do call it, if it's plenty early, and then he just has to check down to this player, what the rules now are going to say is this becomes an automatic first down.
Okay.
So last year, it was very important by rule to understand if this pass crossed the neutral zone or not, right?
Yes.
Which we need to do every play anyways on all passes that threaten the line of scrimmage because there's so many other rules involved in that. But there's one less rule going forward, assuming all these rules pass. I'm not sure the stat.
3rd and 16, or would you pretty much keep that same process and say, you know what, I have number 3 initially, and he goes back inside. I need to watch him.
So no, that's a really good question. And the reason for me on this play is just I don't know how to explain it, but when I watch this threat on 42 materializes immediately. And so irrespective of the rules that we have, and we don't even apply that very much anymore now with the line of scrimmage official being on the tight end or the person in the lateral tight end position. So we're not in that mode where we're consistently employing that mechanic. But for me personally, Tuta, it's really about number 3's body language as soon as the ball snapped. Just everything about this screams potential foul. Right. So I just wouldn't be comfortable leaving it, kind of regardless of the down and distance.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Hey, I think I would really encourage everyone to take this play and bring it to your crews for
That's a great play.
Start preseason, because we need to know how we're going to cover this. We got a dude who got yanked to the ground. We also have a potential illegal blindside block. The number 1 receiver actually turned into the number 2 receiver. The number 3 receiver stayed in and blocked. I mean, we got a lot that could be going on. We could all be we could have 3 people looking in one place. We could have 2 people looking in one place. This is something that we really need to talk about with our crews just to figure out, okay, how are we going to handle this? So I think people should really take this play back and have those discussions.
What a play, huh?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous play. And it was a nothing play, right?
Nothing play.
It's a nothing play.
Let's go back to the pump game.
We're not going to talk about socks.
All right, here we go. Let's do this. You are going to see pulls up. You're going to see some interesting action downfield. We're going to talk about the right guard here in a second. So more blindside blocks. Okay, I think this one's going to be pretty obvious. So watch the action. I think it involves the flyer. He kind of sheds the guy, and then the guy comes back and makes up for it, right? Look at him, line him up, number 4. See that end zone view once it gets to you. I don't think we have any issues with this being a blindside block that's a foul for an illegal blindside block, right?
Yep.
All right, now look at the action out of bounds. I mean, this is really a second act out of bounds. Not the most vicious late hit out of bounds, but it's called, so let's go with it. We call it. I think this is a solid call. Okay, whatever. But let's enforce these penalties now. So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of words in the poll. I don't need to read it all. We need to get these things enforced. So what we're going with right now is that there's 2 fouls on the play, illegal blindside block on team B, late hit out of bounds on team A. Let's figure out how to enforce it.
All right.
And I don't know if the poll Is the poll? Now I'm a little skittish on the whole tech side of this thing, right?
I
Last
know
2 weeks.
we've been having some
Is the
issues.
poll rolling? I hope
I think
so.
the poll is rolling.
Okay. It's funny. Usually, when our tech issues are always contained, not always, but very often contained to just the presenter side,
You're right.
and now it seems like they're more morphing to the attendee side, which is worse.
Yeah,
Right,
extremely
I mean-
concerning.
Yeah, I'm in a hotel like 50 miles south of the Canadian border. I thought for sure I'd have issues, but I had zero issues tonight.
They have internet up by the Canadian border.
They I guess they
Oh,
got
yeah.
they got
Come on.
they got a lot of cold and snow and wind up here. They haven't got the memo that spring is
Whoa,
coming.
snow?
You know.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, they had like 3 inches today.
It's mid-April.
Blizzard warnings. It's
Oh yeah, this is the second snowiest month in South Dakota. I know that.
Interesting. Hey, is this thing still the Carrier Dome?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
absolutely.
And it doesn't have any air conditioning in the Carrier Dome, correct? We just have a really, really, really good,
Astute.
astute. There you go. We have a really astute
Okay.
group here at VSG.
Okay. Well, let's end it. Hopefully, we all got it. And yeah, I mean, predominant 95%. Unbelievable. This is great. Very honestly, our penalty enforcement questions don't always go this well.
They
So
don't.
95% said enforce both penalties for both fouls. Enforce both penalties for both. That's interesting. In the order in which they occurred, it's Team B's ball. And that's right. So why do we do that? Obviously, everybody knows, but let's lay it out there. Why do we go both penalties for both fouls in the order in which they occurred?
Well, one is a live ball, one is a dead ball. So we need to take care of the live ball fouls first, and then we deal with the dead ball foul.
Yep. Okay. Now, perfect. So let's move on because that's pretty clear. Although reporting, we can talk about reporting. You would want to report
reporting is
this
important.
during the return,
Yes.
which is obviously post possession. Meaning team B, the receiving team got the ball with clean hands, so that's why they're going to end up with the football here. Okay, great. Watch the right guard as this loops. Watch the right guard.
Yes. Yes.
So
Number 17, I think his number was.
these punt formations are really angering me. And it's interesting because why is he moving?
Right.
I'll tell you why he's moving. Because he doesn't have any teammates there. Because they're all
Right.
split out to the left. And the defense is lined up there. So he feels like he has to move to get into better pre-snap blocking position.
Right.
Well, guess what? I don't know if anything has changed, but from what I understand, you can't, not be set. You can't be in motion from the line at the snap. And I guess he's not in motion, but I don't think he was set.
Right.
Now, do we want to call this? I don't care. I actually think I want to call this. And do you want to make it a false start, illegal motion, whatever? Is it a shift with the shield blocker? Call it what you want, right? But the more exotic these kicking team punt formations get, I think the more we've got to be aware of this stuff. And I don't know if you want to talk about that or you just want to let me. All right, here's the thing. Oh no, the poll didn't work. Okay, we're gonna have to walk. We're gonna have to walk through it. The poll was. My audio's got to be terrible. I'm sorry.
Hold on. I
No,
can start
you're
the
good.
poll. I don't think you started it, Brandon.
Yeah, I don't think he started either.
Well, look at place 6. Put the last
I got
poll
it.
in the menu.
Yeah, I got it.
What is it? Do you have a bunch of options?
No, I have two options.
2 options.
A and B?
Yep. Oh,
geez.
that-
Yeah, that
part
doesn't
doesn't
work. That was a place. So whatever.
Okay.
Let's go through it though. Let's say we call it for illegal motion or illegal shift, whatever.
Yes.
It's a live ball foul.
Yes.
Does that change the penalty enforcement? Maybe we could chat poll it. So what we have is illegal motion and illegal shift, whatever you want to call that. So in other words, not a false start. Because if it's a false start, it's a dead ball foul, right?
Correct.
So we've got illegal motion by that player, and then we've got the other two fouls are the same.
That's right.
we nailed the penalty enforcement on the live ball blindside block and the dead ball late hit out of bounds. But now, what is this addition of illegal motion by the offense, by the kicking team, right at the snap? What does that do to our penalty enforcement? So let's see how we react to that.
So what question are we asking? Are we asking, does the penalty enforcement change if we
add
the
that and basically how are you going to handle it?
All right, chat poll.
Yep.
Does it change, and what do we do? And it looks like, Brandon, we need to call Webinar Jam again, because it seems like people are having issues all the time with this webinar, and that's no bueno. We can't live like that.
It's crazy. We went on a streak of like 50 with 0 issues, and now we've had 2 in a row with issues, and we went to the lengths like anytime we have issues, we know how to handle it, but our fix this time didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Jeff blows these. You say R, are you meaning the referee or are you meaning team B?
He means the receiving team.
I know what he means.
All right, so
good one, buddy.
So the situation here is just as we see, except we actually called that illegal motion, and we're not saying it should be called or it shouldn't. I don't even care. This is a what if. We called that as illegal motion. We still have the blindside block. We still have the late hit out of bounds. Basically, the options would be something like automatic offset, right? Or does Team B have options to keep the ball after enforcement? Does Team B have other options? This is pretty wild if you think about it.
Look at my man John Rohn. We got some simple answers, and we got a John Rohn answer.
This is where we want to be careful about what we always say with live ball, dead ball fouls, Tuta.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We always say just acknowledge the live ball and forget about the dead ball. Get to the dead ball later.
Well, first of all, we have to get this reported properly. We absolutely have to get this reported properly.
So my ball fouls, offset, replay the down, dead balls enforced in the previous spots. So Fred, that's one option. R has the option to offset the live ball fouls. That's an option. I guess that's the same. And then we got John coming in with declining the illegal motion, enforcing the blindside block. The dead ball foul will then be enforced. Or B can offset and re-kick. So John basically got them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. How?
Jeff is saying D should accept the foul and offset and then push K back another 15 and re-kick. That's interesting. So he's probably going to just make the decision himself, which is an interesting thought, which I do not disagree with totally.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very interesting thought.
Where's your crazy little your screen your pictogram that you used that time, Brandon, where you just got all geeky, you got all excited.
Oh yeah,
we started
basic spots and all that stuff.
Yeah, let's break that out.
Oh, you want tonight?
Well, we did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it had to be like that in front of company, but sometimes you got to hear the naked truth.
Back to this enforcement.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, we can stop. Hey, I know we could do. We can screen share because we got the whole screen. We have the whole field basically.
We do?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on. Time out.
You got it.
If I could screen share, last week I couldn't screen share. Hold on. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can get this up. That will be a no. I'm still not able to screen share. We're going to call these people tomorrow. This is BS. Yeah, I can't screen share. And now I don't hear anything on my side.
What's
Are
it
y'all
doing?
still there?
Yeah, I'm sure. What you doing? Like when you hover over that button, is it grayed out?
No, it works, and then I can click it. But then when I hit share, it does nothing. It just sends me right back to the room. So let's just talk it. Hold on, I'll just pull a video.
Oh, there you go. Something's coming
somebody
up.
has it. I think that's Brandon.
Okay. All right,
There
here we go.
Brandon.
So
let's
where
go
did you
through
wanna
it.
Go? Okay, let's go through it.
Let's go through it. Let's go through all of the options. So we have a foul by team A, which is the illegal motion. We have a foul by team B. We must absolutely report this is a foul during the return.
During the return.
Okay. During the return. So if team B, one of their choices is they can accept, they can decline team A's foul for illegal motion or illegal shift, whatever it is, and enforce their foul for illegal blindside block.
So let's go through that.
Yep.
So that's one option. So I think the spot of the foul was what, the 22?
Yeah, something like that.
Let's just use the
Let's
hashes.
call it the 22. Yep.
So you talked about, and we nailed so in other words, if they do that, if they decline the illegal motion because they want to keep the ball without a re-kick, then we go right back into what we did on question 1, right?
All right, let's go to the 11.
So we go to the 11.
And then we turn around. Yep.
And then we're going to go the full 15 back to the what?
26.
26.
Yes.
Right?
For everyone who doesn't know, Brandon had trouble counting to 5 this past weekend.
I didn't have trouble counting to 5. I went to the wrong enforcement spot. And you know what was really embarrassing about it? It was a false start. Yeah.
I wasn't going to bust you out like that, Brandon.
Oh, I own it. I own it. But it's good opportunity to learn.
Whole question, enforcement spots for a false start. Let's get that.
Yeah. Usually.
That poll.
Okay. So that's in the scenario where they want to, and how would you communicate that? I mean, would you talk about?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Would you say, look, do you want the ball at the 26? We can give you the ball at the 26.
This is what I would say. You want to keep the ball or you want to re-kick? That's what I think I would start with.
Okay.
You want to keep the ball or you want to re-kick?
Well, where would I re-kick from? Or where would I make them re-kick from?
All right, now we got to go to the next one.
So B has all the options here. Why?
Because they got the ball with clean hands.
Exactly. That's it. So we really need to get in that pathway as soon as possible.
That's right.
In terms of reporting 3 fouls, right?
And that's why we can't just come up and say blindside block, because we need to know if it's during the return or during the kick. If it's during the kick, we will be in a total different situation.
Right. Okay. Now let's say the other scenario is what?
B can choose to offset the live ball fouls.
Yep.
And enforce the dead ball foul with a re-kick.
Exactly. So that would really be, if we go back, what's crazy is even though this kick, or I'm sorry, this dead ball foul occurred after the play, it's
right.
The basic spot is the succeeding spot, right?
That's correct.
So where
you know what I was about to say previous spot, and I'm glad you said succeeding.
Yeah. That's what we
spot.
don't want to say is 15 yards from the previous spot. It's really not. It becomes a succeeding spot after an offset. So what's crazy is 33. They could back them up 33 to the
18.
Me count.
18. We know you have trouble counting.
I know.
18.
They could back them up here and replay 4th down from that spot.
Which, like Jeff was saying, I think that's probably the most optimal thing for Team B, and maybe it's best just to not even go through all these mental mechanics with the coach and just enforce it like that.
It really could be. I mean, if the guy, I don't know if the wind's at their back. Who knows how coaches think.
Right.
But the bottom line is, man, it's 3 fouls, and it's like this is complicated. We don't just want to go to 1. I mean, I think we want to have it all in our minds. We've got to get to the point where we can explain this stuff if asked, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So Alan is saying if the BSB is at the 22 and the end of the run at the 20, will we enforce the BSB from the 20? Let's get into that. Now we're talking 3 and 1.
Okay, great.
Yes, good question,
Alan. Great question. So what we're gonna say. Right. What we're going to say now is that we have the spot of the foul is at the 22.
That's correct.
And we're going to put the end of the run at the
20.
at the 20.
Correct.
All right. So the foul occurs during the run.
Yep.
Basic spot is the end of the run. And
That's
then we
correct.
have to evaluate who's the foul on, team in possession.
Team in possession.
Where's the spot of the foul?
Beyond the end
Beyond,
of
that
the
means
basic spot.
we would go from the basic spot,
Yes.
right? Back 20 to the 10.
That's
If we
right.
put the spot of the foul at the 18, same scenario, we would go from the 18 to the 9
That's
because
right.
3 and 1 tells us that we go from the spot of the foul if that spot is behind when the team in possession commits the foul. So this is a play that you can use to do a host of what ifs and just kind of get in a really productive conversation around penalty enforcement with the crew.
Yep.
All right. Well, I am upset about our technical issues
Oh, we're gonna get them taken care of.
because
That's not cool.
I've been having that for a while and thought it was me, maybe the hosting site. Okay. Yeah, so our promise is to try to get this resolved. I don't know what's going on. Unless they've been happening all along and nobody told us. I don't know. That's unlikely.
Yeah, no idea.
I don't know. I don't get it. But we apologize. Anyways, you know what? And the bottom line with what we're trying to do is it's not about the plays. Anybody can find plays.
Right.
But if we can't present them in a quality manner, you know, that's really been the pillar of what we're trying to do. So we apologize for any of that. Video, audio repeating itself went away after you stopped playing the video on a loop.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right, we'll take this offline. I mean, we've been doing that for the whole time.
Right.
86 sessions strong. So, anyways, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. The plays are available, and the session is available as always. I think we said this last week. We'll try to come back stronger next week.
But to be fair, we do that every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
All right.
Yeah, we'll do whatever we can to get this resolved. I really appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah.
And
Hanging with us.
keep it up in the spring. Corey, you're in midseason form, man. Keep us.
Hey,
keep
you know,
going.
good place to start from, right?
All right. Take care, everybody. Talk to you
Later.
later.
All right, adios.
All right. Bye, guys.